negative impact on the economic development greatly affects ordinary citizens. In an engagement with the leadership of the Republic of Zimbabwe, the OACPS was encouraged by the government's commitment to conduct elections that will be judged to be free, fair, and transparent, reflecting the will of the people of Zimbabwe. Having visited 10 polling stations in Harare and its environs on the 23rd of August, and spoken to various stakeholders, including voters, the OACPS congratulates all concerned for the transparent, peaceful, and orderly conduct at the polling stations visited. The OACPS notes with satisfaction that high numbers of women participating as polling officials, agents, and in the electorate. This is a most welcome development. The OACPS notes with satisfaction that local and foreign observers were given full access to the polling stations in the spirit of transparency and accountability. The OACPS calls on the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission to continue to be diligent in its functions, including the counting, tallying of the ballots, and the announcement of the results. The OACPS further calls on all political parties and their supporters to respect the final outcome. The integrity and success of the electoral process will be of great pride and benefit to the Zimbabwean and the peoples of Africa. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be now ready and open for any questions that you may have on the observation process that we have been following over the past few days, and I will answer in as much as I can. Thank you. Yes, please.
Thank you so much. My name is Panashima from Sources Media. Maybe I missed you. You said you visited 10 polling stations in Harare. Do you think 10 polling stations are enough for you to consider this election free, fair, and credible? Also, there was an issue of material that did not come in time,
Yes.
and some voters were affected. Some did not cast their votes. What do you call it?
Well, that's true. Indeed, I was invited by the authorities of Zimbabwe. I came with a very small team, and therefore I am not as strong as the African Union team with Gomez and SADC, but we've been exchanging, we've been participating in their briefings. They have bigger teams. In general terms, the appreciation that most of the observers have of the elections are the same. Indeed, it's true that we visited a number of polling stations in Harare. The polling stations started to open a little bit after 7 o'clock in the morning, and the openings did not happen all at the same time. Some opened at 7:10, others opened at 7:30, others opened at 9, others opened at 15 hours, and others opened even later, and others did not open. But I think what is important with a challenge like this one, there are always insufficiencies. I think what's important is that the ZEC has informed that the electoral process will continue from yesterday to today to make sure that chances for the voting are given to all the citizens of Zimbabwe. And therefore we have been following up today that some of those areas where people could not vote on time yesterday, they continue to vote today. So I think that is again something that's important. What's important is to allow people to vote. We have noted that in some voting polling or in some polling stations, there was delay of the arrival related to the ballot of the council authorities, I think the local authorities. But as time went by, those ballots were as well being distributed. It is generally, it's normal that when there is an electoral process like this one, there are mistakes, and all these mistakes or problems have been discussed or are being discussed, and I think that the Zimbabwean Electoral Commission has answered to those questions.
And maybe a follow-up of that. From your own findings, what are your recommendations to the government of Zimbabwe, to ZEC and to citizens of Zimbabwe?
Well, I think what's important is that first is that you've made an effort to make these elections to take place. And therefore, for that, we already encourage. But we've noted that the people of Zimbabwe are very patient. They were all in the lines when we arrived at all the polling stations that we visited. They were also patient enough to wait, even in those polling stations, which opened at 15 hours, even those that opened even later, even those that did not open. We haven't seen any reaction that was negative or that would harm the process of the election in Zimbabwe. And therefore we congratulate the people of Zimbabwe just for that patience. I think that people are willing to cast their vote, and they want to make sure that as far as they are concerned, they will abide by what is being done and said. And I think that in due time, ZEC gave the information why there was the delay, and people just kept on waiting. In most of these polling stations that we were, people would come orderly, they were controlled until they went to the private boxes where they would put their ballots. We also saw that those who did not have or needed help, like elderly, pregnant women, were generally helped in this process. So we still encourage the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission that we thank them for the efforts that they've done to make sure that the process, to me or to us, looked clean and fair.
And maybe finally, from your interactions with ZEC, you said you had interactions with ZEC, to what you termed mistakes, what did they say caused these mistakes?
Well, on the delay of the ballots related to the council authorities of the local one, because it was not in all that they couldn't have that delivered. I think that they had teams that were distributing these ballots, and probably they may have had problems. But in some, all ballots were there. So I think that technically these are the things that we leave to ZEC, but for us it was important that they extended the time of the voting. At the end of the day yesterday, in most of the polling stations that we passed, we saw that most of the people had finished voting. I think there was one where even the lady that's accompanying us, people were still voting at night yesterday. And we are also concerned that sometimes people complain that there wasn't enough light. So those are some of the things that can be improved upon.
Thank you. If there are no other questions, I think we can only thank you for coming, and we end the session here.
Thank you very much. And